So we have a number of videos on herpes and how to deal with it and what is safe or safer. And we've had a number of comments come back about it as well. And there seems to be a lot of fear in the general culture around herpes. And we had some people comment. Some people said, "Thank you so much for sharing this. It normalized it," which is one of the things I love that you do, Reid. Reid Mahalka from readaboutsex.com.
Cathy Bartulli from the intimacydojo.com. And ultimately, this video is about, will herpes ruin your life? Dun dun dun.
Yeah, so some people had written in, "Thank you so much for normalizing it," because I think you do a great job of that, and making it less scary, because a large number of people actually do have herpes, and many of them don't know it, and it becomes, when people get really scared in their heads, that can ruin relationships, and I've had clients that were diagnosed with it and were like, "I don't know if I should, leave life, live in a monastery or whatever." So just realizing that a lot of people have it. Some doctors won't even test for it because it's so common that they don't want to. And there's a lot of fear about it.
Yeah. So thank you everyone who writes in. The herpes videos get a lot of comments.
Positive and negative.
Positive and negative. And then some really kind of like haters hate on the herpes. And some of those comments we delete because we don't delete all the negative ones, but the ones that are really, really vicious, we tend to kind of take off because, for this reason, but this video is a response to that. The ultimate question, will herpes ruin your life? Well, that depends on how you look at STIs and STDs.
Do you feel like your life is ruined?
No, and I have herpes 1. I've had it. I've been testing positive for it for a long time, and I don't have outbreaks. So, to my knowledge, I've never had an outbreak. I don't know where it's located. There's a lot of people needing to get all the details right about herpes. But you can get herpes 1. Used to be that you could only get it orally, or it would be located around your mouth, and that herpes 2 you would get mostly located around your genitals or around your ass.
True, but not completely.
But that's not completely true, because you can have herpes 1 genitally and you can have herpes 2 orally.
And I've gotten cold sores before, and I don't test positive for either herpes 1 or 2. So
there's a lot of misinformation, and there's a lot of fear around sexually transmitted diseases, sexually transmitted infections, STDs, STIs, whichever phrase you want to use. Here's what I think is important, and this is just my opinion. I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on the internets. Herpes is not fatal. No one's ever died from herpes that I know of. I could be wrong. And you could be somebody who gets herpes and is the person whose nervous system allows you to have frequent outbreaks that are really painful. In that situation, herpes sucks for you. And that you might go on retroviral things like Valtrex and whatnot to lessen those outbreaks, but it still might not lessen them. If you're one of those people that has the really painful outbreaks frequently, and that statistically speaking is not everybody, but you might draw the short straw on that, my heart goes out for you, because obviously I'm not dealing with that. And, you may also be somebody, and even I, without having outbreaks, where people are like, "I don't want to sleep with you because you have herpes." I totally get that. You know what? Don't sleep with me then. It might hurt. I'm polyamorous, so I have multiple relationships. I might have somebody who won't want to sleep with me because their partners don't want to get herpes. That's okay. We can start to be adults once we get through the fear mongering in culture. So the big thing around herpes is it's not fatal. Moving from there, ruining your life if you have the common outbreaks, frequent outbreaks that are super painful, that kind of sucks. But the way I like to think of it right now in this video is you could ruin your life by driving a car.
Well, there's people that get the flu and die. There's people that get like one of the first workshops I went to that you were teaching was about STDs, STIs, and you asked everybody what the most common STI was, and people were guessing gonorrhea, herpes, whatever, and you're like, no, it's the common cold, and that really helped normalize it for me. There are people that do die from the common cold.
Oh, I never thought of it like that.
So there is a chance, but the person that wrote back to this comment was they were saying that you can't even roll over in bed and accidentally touch him without risking getting an infection and your life being ruined, and that's true. And you can also, your partner could get a common cold that you get, and your immune system may not be strong enough, and you could die. So like there is risk being human and connecting.
And for some people with autoimmune deficiencies or malfunctions or certain challenges around things like getting a sexually transmitted disease is more risky for their health. So I don't want to minimize any of that.
No, when I was in the hospital with pneumonia, no one with a cold could come in and see me because it might have killed me at that point. But that doesn't mean that people with colds in general, or I'm going to live in a bubble. I want to be able to connect with people.
And the fear and the shame around STIs and around herpes specifically, even though herpes is not fatal, the shame, like we don't have shame around driving. People die driving all the time.
Yeah, it's good.
Now, you can learn how to be a better driver. Wear your seatbelt. You can put on a condom when you're having sex. You can.
When you drive?
When you drive, you can put a condom. I'm wearing a condom right now. You can do things to help be a safer driver, but that doesn't mean you won't get blindsided.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you won't sleep with somebody who doesn't know they have herpes because they've never gotten tested for it. A lot of people have STIs and STDs that are asymptomatic, which is why I'm a big proponent of get tested at least once or twice a year. If you're super slutty like me, get tested 3 or 4 times a year. And then date people who also get tested, who will tell you if they test positive for something. And if you have somebody, or you are the person who's like, I can't get herpes, then try not to sleep with people who have herpes, because it's really hard to prevent the kind of skin-to-skin contact that will allow herpes to be transmitted. Easier actually to prevent the exposure and transmission of gonorrhea because of how gonorrhea, if you're a nerd like me, gets transmitted.
Yeah.
Wearing a condom for oral sex and for penetrative sex kind of helps with gonorrhea. And gonorrhea, for the most part, is treatable, just like syphilis and chlamydia, whereas herpes isn't really treatable. You can take retrovirals to help suppress it, but you can't get rid of it. Herpes is for life.
At least now.
Just now. But what I want to say is it's the fear. And you don't tell somebody when they get their driver's license, you're going to ruin your life. You could ruin your life driving, and there's no way you can't prevent getting sideswiped or rear-ended. Like, the only way to prevent that is to never drive.
But it's true.
But we don't have shame and blame and guilt around driving. So, again, I would just consider you to think about all this from the perspective of what's life-threatening versus life-altering. And herpes can be damn inconvenient. But did you really ruin your life? I don't know. I would ask you to think about that. Like, what's the definition of ruin? And then try to remove the shame and the stigma so that you can have a different conversation about STIs and STDs. I'll end there.
Really appreciate writing in. We know this is a difficult topic, and we want to just try to make it a little bit easier for people that are facing the fears and the shame around it.
And last but not least, for those of you who believe that there is a cure for herpes and you want to post about it, I'm going to ask you to email me at reid@readaboutsex.com the science, and I mean science with a capital S, behind what you think is the cure. If you can show me something documented, I'm all for it. I'm waiting for a cure. And if you don't have science-y stuff, and by science I mean you'd give it to somebody with a PhD and they would look over it and be like, that's science, please don't post what you think is a cure in the comments. I will, as somebody who who needs to be representing science to a certain degree, I will delete those comments. And I thank you for sharing, but email me the science at home, please. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to subscribe to my social media, it's right there. And please subscribe to this channel there. If you'd like to see more goofy Reid and Cathy, there's more videos there.
See them. Why are they there?